Hi guys, as promised, here's an update for you regarding the financial situation for us in the therapy industry. This information is for people outside of the therapy industry as well, but obviously I'm targeting it towards you guys because I know the FHT is going to be sharing this again, which is amazing. So this particular update is all specifically targeted to people who own their own salons and wellness centres. And as the government have named it, massage parlours. Right, I just had a good giggle with the guy at the council about the massage parlour statement, but apparently that's what I come under. So, you know, it's exciting. So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name's Rachel Davenport. I own Core Therapies, which is a wellness centre or massage parlour in Folkestone in Kent. And I also own a complementary therapy college as well, Core Therapies College. As with the rest of us, we were all shut down last week. And so I, last week on the 20th, recorded a video with the up-to-date information at the time on exactly what it was we are going to be financially entitled to help us in this predicament so that when we come out the other side, we've still got businesses. Okay. Now, for anybody who's self-employed, who doesn't own their own business that has a premises, then currently there is no update for you, unfortunately. I have got a little bit of advice at the end of this. When I say advice, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a money expert, you know. What I am is a therapist who owns a business, who has just had to tell 12 self-employed therapists we've had to shut our doors. And so because I am desperately trying to collate all of this information, not just for my business welfare, to make sure my business will carry on past this point, but also so that I've got information for the 12 therapists that I've had to effectively lay off. They're not employed by me, they are self-employed. I figured it would be great to share this information with you guys. And the last video has gone down so well, and so many people have sent me messages saying how helpful it's been, how it's giving them hope. And how they don't feel quite as panicked, even though there's still no specific answers for self-employed people yet. The little update I can give you is I have heard that the provisions that they were trying to get through was refused by the House of Lords today because they feel it's not good enough, is my understanding, as a layperson, as a non-financial industry bod. So... but apparently, I haven't seen the announcement, but I have heard that apparently the announcement stated that we will have information within the next couple of days. Okay. So please, 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 as self-employed therapists, hang on in there. If you are a self-employed therapist, and I will get to the business premises owners in a minute, but if you are a self-employed therapist watching this, you have several options right now. You can apply for universal credits. I know that hanging on the phone for 3.5, 4 hours trying to get through to somebody to get the appointment is a horror show, but everybody's in the same boat. And I do know one of my therapists has informed me that somebody they know works for DWP, and they are desperately trying to recruit more people to make this system easier. The first thing everybody needs to understand is everybody is under an incredible amount of pressure. I am, you are, the government is, the Department for Work and Pensions are, the council are. They are having to create systems, computer systems, that have never been created before, just so that they can get the financial aid sorted for us. They have exponentially enlarged the amount of universal credits that can be applied for to really help with rent as well. I know it still doesn't seem a lot, and it's not a lot in comparison to what you're potentially earning, but it's worth applying for them. Even if at the end of the week, the government announce some help for us and you decide you don't need it, you just cancel it. Okay? As I say, any information that I give, it's not me. I know I use the word advice, but I'm not giving you advice. I'm giving you information, and it's entirely up to you what you do with it. That's a real caveat here. I can't help you with any further information than I have, because everything I've given you is everything that I've got. But as I receive the updates, I will be obviously, you know, creating more videos. And I'm really hoping that by this weekend, I can create a video specifically around the financial help and aid that there is going to be for us as self-employed therapists and for the self-employed community across the board. You do have to understand it's a really complicated situation for them. One other country, off the top of my head, it's gone, but apparently one other country is taking 3 years' worth of net profit from self-employed self-assessments. They are then averaging out how much you've earned over the last 3 years and then paying you a percentage of that as your monthly income. Now, if you're anything like me, the previous 2 tax years, I've expanded my business exponentially. I expanded my business upstairs into a flat, and so I've got extra treatment rooms. I opened a college and took on a premises for that. And so I don't have a lot of net profit from those years because I threw all my money back into the business because I was in a financial position to be able to do so. And so I totally get where you're coming from. And this is why it's taking so long, because they're also trying to figure out, as Martin Lewis said this morning on Good Morning Britain, they're also trying to figure out how to help self-employed people who don't even have a tax return submitted yet, or have only had 1 tax return submitted. You know, there are lots of variables. So please, please, please bear with them. They are doing their best. They're not always going to get it right. They can't get everything perfect, and they cannot please everybody. But they are trying to please most people. There are always going to be people that fall through the cracks. Okay. Now, if you own your own wellness centre, beauty salon, hair salon, nail bar, tanning centre, okay, then this is for you. Or anybody else watching this who isn't a therapist, that does have a small business that has a premises. So firstly, just to confirm what I said in the very first video, they are giving out £10,000 grants to every small business who owns who have a premises. You don't have to own it, you can be renting it, but everyone who has small business rate relief. So it's where you get your business rate bill through and it says 0, or it says very, very little. But anything under 12,000 rateable value is 0. Okay, so if you have that, you are going to be entitled to the £10,000 grant. If your business rates are higher than that, you are, say, from 15,000, I believe it is, through to £51,000, then your business rates for the next year are nil. They've already put that in place, okay? What they have also introduced is a retail grant. Now, this covers retail, hospitality and leisure. This was announced on Friday when, although I did hear about it before then because I did reference it in my last video. I heard about it on Thursday from the Business Rates Department of the Council, but I didn't have a lot of information then. This particular grant is effectively for all the businesses that were shut down on Friday. That includes, so it's anything in hospitality, leisure or retail. And where we're concerned, we come under the leisure section. And they're specifically named beauty salons, hair salons, tanning centres and massage parlours, which is nice, isn't it? So what I do have for you is information on how that's going to be paid, which I'll get to in a moment. But what they've done initially when they brought that grant out, it was a £25,000 grant purely for people who fell between the £15,000 a year and £51,000 a year rateable value bracket. So they were paying some business rates. What they've now done is anybody under that £15,000 who fits that criteria is also entitled to a £10,000 grant. So that is potentially a second grant. So it's not an either or. You're potentially entitled to both. Okay. Now, the way to apply for these grants, at the minute, there's nothing on the local websites for the councils. They received the directive at 9:30 yesterday. I received it into my inbox at 2:30 this morning. So at 4 AM this morning, I was reading everything I could about it. So what's going to happen is on your local, certainly this is what's happening in Folkestone and Hythe District Council. It may be different for your local council. You can contact their business rates department and they'll let you know. But to my knowledge, this is what's happening across the board. On the business rates section page for your local council, they will be either uploading the form there or uploading or putting a link in for you to click through to access the forms. You then fill out those forms. And that includes putting bank details in. They then decide whether they're going to pay you or not. So the reason I say decide there is for anybody who's entitled to the small business rate relief, it's a no-brainer, they're giving you the money. Anybody who's applying for the retail, leisure and, what was the other one? Hospitality one. Depending on what it says in your council tax bracket, so I'll give you an example. Mine says treatment rooms. And my classification for my business rates is D1. And so I've then got to fill out an extra explanation bit. So when they receive my application for that, they're then going to contact me for more information. So put in the information that you've got. They do say you will need your business rates letter, your bill that you received recently. In my first video, I even flashed mine because I'd literally just received it and I showed it. Okay, so obviously not the details, just the envelope. So all of the details, all the information you are going to need to fill out that form are going to be on your business rates letter. My recommendation to you is get to your clinics, your salons, whatever it is you have. Don't use the word clinic because clinic is a medical term. One thing they are not covering is anything medical. And I have a habit of calling my place a clinic. It's not, it's a wellness centre. But I've just got this habit of calling it a clinic. And he said to me, we don't cover anything medical. And I had to explain to him, no, we're not medical. We do massage. We do a few facials. And we do 20% of other stuff as well. But we're not medical, okay? So if you regularly refer to your place as a clinic, do not, in your application to the council, refer to it as a clinic. If you only do massage and complementary therapies. If you are a clinical centre, then you aren't entitled to that grant. You'll still be entitled to the small business rates relief one, but you won't be entitled to the hospitality, leisure and retail grant, okay? If you're a clinic, a medical centre, classed as a medical centre, all right? But if you're a massage parlour, then you absolutely are entitled to it, okay? Because that's classed as a leisure pursuit, all right? Whereas anything clinical and medical is classed as a need. They are classed as key workers and they can still be working, which is why the grant's not available to them, to my knowledge. Obviously, all of the information I'm giving you today is still subject to change. There is always an element of subject to change until those forms are on that website, we can fill them out and we know the money's on its way to us. Now, one of the things that you might start to hear go around is that they're talking about paying it out by cheque or backs. They have confirmed at the council for me that even though the government in their directive said you can pay by cheque or you can pay by backs, they are only offering the backs option. If you don't know what backs is a bank transfer, okay? But it's a specific bank transfer that can take a couple of days once they've sent the payment. All right, lots of big corporations use that. I just go on my phone and click transfer money, you know. So just in case you didn't know what a backs is, that is a bank transfer, all right? But they have removed the cheque element from that form, okay? So yeah, obviously we know, you know, most of the banks are closed or they're running really, really short hours. And so that cheque element isn't going to be there. It is going to be by backs, all right? I'm just going to check my notes in case there's anything else I want to tell you about that. So if you are in the Folkestone Hythe district area, if that is where your business comes under, underneath this video, I will be putting our local council's link. But all you've got to do is go onto your local council's website, click on the business section, and that will bring you up the business rates area. Click onto the business rates area, and that is where they are hoping that the information is going to be. If the form isn't directly on that page, and it won't be yet, it won't be on the page yet, but if the form isn't on the page, it's going to be on a link from that page, is what the councils are aiming to do, okay? Now, what the lovely gentleman I spoke to at the council said this morning is that, as I said earlier on, they are creating brand new systems for this. And these brand new systems are quite literally being created out of thin air. There's nothing like them. And so the tech companies that they employ are all working from home, creating these systems for us. Now, what the government have said is that the money will be available from the beginning of April. The gentleman I spoke to at our local council confirmed the money is due to be available from the beginning of April. What he's also confirmed, again, for the Folkestone and Hythe district area only, I can't comment on any other districts, is that they are hoping that the system that's being currently built for them is going to be up and running at a similar time to the money coming in. So we don't have that long to wait. We really don't. We can just hold on just a little bit longer. Okay? Okay. I'm really pleased to have been able to give you this information. Super, super, super pleased, and I feel really privileged to be in the position that I am, that I can access this information. Don't get me wrong, I'm not accessing it from any weird sources. I haven't got, a spy cam in Parliament or anything. But what I do have is a bit of an obsession with Google. And I know lots of other business owners who, when they've seen stuff, they've sent it to me because they know that I'm spreading the word for everybody. Okay. Now, the other thing the council wanted to assure me of is that even though they're working from home, they are actually working more. So our local council, again, I can only speak for our local council, but our local council have their system, they've increased the hours that the people who work at the council, they're all working from home, that the people that are working at the council can access the systems from. So they're all working about an extra hour a day. So they're working well over and above what they're being paid for to try and get this processed. Now, one of the other things the gentleman at the council said is, it will take longer if you have to apply by paper. Okay, if you can't access the form. Now, I did assure him that anybody who's watching this has access to the internet. All right. And so he has said the quickest way to be paid out is to go through that form on the internet. If you're not sure whether your business qualifies for the retail and hospitality grant and leisure one, contact your council. Okay, and speak to the business rates department and explain to them what you do and ask them what your business comes under on the rates and what's written down as the description. I mean, if I'd have had a choice and I'd have written my description for the council, it'd have been about 4 A4 pages long of what we actually do. But they have therapy rooms or treatment rooms, that's it. So do that if you are unsure. Now, one more little bit of information for you. I am going to be creating a separate video about this, but I just want to, as you're watching, tag this on. The other thing that I can recommend for you is thinking about money that you've got going out, just so that in this short interim, you can reduce your outgoings or defer some payments. So you have the option, if you own your own house, to defer your mortgage payments for up to 3 months. Now, I have heard that then mortgage providers are saying, but you have to then repay that within the following 3 months. That's basically doubling your mortgage. So do check with your mortgage provider about what the terms would be of that. Okay. For some mortgage providers, apparently, they are offering the opportunity to lengthen your mortgage slightly. So you've got 3 extra payments at the end of your mortgage. Check with them. I'm not an expert in this area. I'm just passing information on. Okay. If you rent your home, landlords who have a mortgage, and a lot of landlords don't have a mortgage for the premises that they rent out, but landlords that have a mortgage can also use that deferral process for their mortgages. But please bear in mind, they're under the same rules. So if they have to defer their mortgages, they also have to repay that potentially within 3 months. Okay. So this isn't about not paying your rent. It's about getting a bit of a reprieve. And the other thing to consider is that landlords, sometimes that is their only income and they've got to pay their bills at home too. And they're not entitled to any of the support that we're entitled to. So if you are struggling to pay your rent while you're waiting for these grants to come in, contact your landlord or your agent and let them know. Let them know what you're entitled to, what is going to be coming in, so that you know you can cover your rent potentially, but that it might be a bit delayed. Okay, it's really, really important, guys, that you keep your landlords informed, because the more information they have, the more lenience they can give them, the quicker they can figure out financially what they can do to then help you. Okay. Do also double check about any subscriptions or anything like that you have. Any subscriptions that you're over the contract on but you don't really need anymore. So you can cancel those temporarily. That will help you just a little bit financially in the short term. If you have any loans or anything like that, you can contact your banks to see again about deferring payments. I don't have any loans, but I got the generic email from my bank saying about this is the financial help we can give. That's where I've gotten that information from, is HSBC. And they want to speak to anybody who is having problems or will potentially have problems paying any loans off or credit cards that they have with them. Okay. The other thing to do, and this is really important, this is a really good one, just to help you in a real short term, is when paying your council tax, if you pay your council tax usually over a 10-month period, you're just about to start paying again in April, as are we all. If you pay over a 10-month period, you can actually phone your council, and I've done this, you can phone your council and you can ask them if they can defer it so it starts in June. So you're still paying the same amount over 10 months, but you don't start your first payment until June. That will give you a bit of a reprieve because the council tax is not a tiny bill. You know, none of us really grumble about paying it, but it's not a tiny bill. If you usually pay your council tax over 12 months, you can ask your council if you can condense it to the 10 months and start that in June. Okay? So do that. That will help in the short term while we are waiting, A, for the grants and B, for the self-employed support. Okay? And another little tip for you, if you're really stuck, if you haven't got any work at the minute and you don't want to go onto the benefits system, there are so many jobs, and you're not vulnerable, really important. There are so many jobs at the moment being recruited through supermarkets, and the post office are recruiting. They need extra postmen. And there are so many jobs available at the moment on short-term contracts. So what the supermarkets are doing, for instance, Sainsbury's, if you know somebody that works at Sainsbury's, they are asking anybody who has friends and family who need a job to write down their details. They're asking the members of staff to write down their details. They will then be contacted. They are paying national living wage, I believe, which is £8.71, something like that. And they're doing it on 4-month rolling contracts. Sorry, 4-week rolling contracts, not 4-month, 4-week rolling contracts. Okay. So that's worth pursuing as well. If you are not vulnerable, if you are able, and if you're going stir crazy at home. Okay. So as long as it's safe for you to do so. Be safe, everybody. Be kind. Everybody's stressed at the minute. Everybody is going through heartache. Everybody's anxious. And everybody's not really knowing what's going on. And quite frankly, we're in this for the long run. Okay? So, be kind. And wash those hands. Take care. Bye-bye.